Welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm Mary, and this is the Painted Peach. Today we are going to do a stencil that's a little older from Chalk Couture, and it is Woodland Animals. And I have also cut some scrap pieces of wood that are kind of wonky and all different sizes to put them on. I'm starting out by using some white chalk paint by Waverly Snow White, and I'm painting all of the boards, front, sides, and back. Once I get them all covered, I'm going to make sure they're good and dry before we start our stenciling process. Now these stencils are reusable, so I can clean them after and reuse them many times. They're great to have. I also enjoy using the hard stencils from like Essential Stencil and things like that. This is chalk paste. You can also use paint. Just make sure you clean them right after so you don't ruin your stencil. I'm using gray first because we just want a nice faint line around to show the outline of the animal, and then we're going to use some paint or chalk paste to color in, and then we'll go back over it with a darker color. The first one we're doing is this cute little fox. And we're going to do each of them in the outline first and then go back in and paint and do the outlines again. This is just a different kind of process if you want to make it look a little more realistic and less stenciled. So I started doing this. I learned this from one of my friends over on Facebook. Her name is Joy, and she has taught me a lot with stenciling when I first started out. I'm doing the same thing with the bear, and we're going to make this one a polar bear. So once we get into painting, we're only going to do some shadowing inside of him. But for now, we're just doing that light gray outline so that we can do the rest and then get to painting. Here he is. He's a cute little fella. Next up, we're going to do the raccoon. We're not going to do the skunk right away because he just requires mostly black, and so we're going to do him last. So here I am using the gray for the raccoon as well. When you're using this chalk paste, you want to just put on enough and then scrape off all the excess and put it back in your jar. This stuff goes a long way. When you're using paint, I just use a dabber of some sort, like a makeup sponge, and I dab it on with that. Here I'm adding some water. Yes, that's water, not Dawn dish soap. And I'm just loosening up that paste to make it more like a paint. Okay, kitty, watch out. That's Tom. And we are now painting in all over where the outline is so that we can have the inside painted orange. Now, you do not have to worry about going outside the lines or being in specific places because you're just going to go right back over it with your stencil and your dark color, which I'm using black, to redo the outline. You're just going to do the same process. You want to make sure that paint or paste underneath is dry, and then you're going to come back in with your stencil and your paste or paint and go right back over it to make the outline stand out. And here it is, all cuted up. We're going to go back in with some white paint and make the head a little bit more white. I think fox have white on their head as well, so I went back in. I'd forgotten that to begin with. So we're just doing some touch-ups. You can do that after the fact as well, and I think he turns out adorable. I do end up adding some embellishments to these once I get finished. I don't get that on video, and I also create a rabbit to go along with them that I don't get on video either. Next, I decided to do this raccoon with a light tan to begin with. I ended up not liking that once I get through, so I go back in with some gray after I do the black outline, and then I go over it one more time with the black outline. It ends up being a little bit too much going on, but I do end up fixing it after the video, doing some touch up with some paint by hand, and it turns out adorable as well. Today I'm in a collaboration playlist that myself and my friend Christy from Funky Junk Inspiration started. And if you'd like to be a part of the playlist as a creator, reach out to one of us. We do this every first Sunday of the month at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we'd love to have you join us. If you're not a creator, we love to have you watch every first Sunday of the month. Here he is with just the tan, and I'm like, no, not liking that. We need some gray. And so I go in and correct some of the black, and then we go back in with the gray and start painting him back up. The great thing about stenciling, if you make mistakes, you can always fix them. It's just like painting. You know, you're just using paints, and it's so easy to go back and correct, or you could even sand this joker down and turn it into something new. I really like the way it ends up turning out, but you know, you could always just start fresh. Here I am getting that gray out, and we're going to go all the way over him again with the gray. I decided to add a little bit of white on his chest because, you know, raccoons have some white as well. I think at least. I'm making him unique if not. But now after that, I'll go right back over it with my black and put that outline back on. But first, we have to clean the stencil. It's been used a couple of times now, and that paste is really thick on there. So it takes me some muscle to get it off, but we do eventually get it nice and clean. You don't have to have it 100% clean when you're going back over your same thing, but once you get completely finished, you want to make sure you clean it up really well so that it's usable for many, many more times. Now that it's nice and clean, we're just going to line it back up as best we can, use our paste, and go right back over to make sure that our outline is there. This time I decided to use paint because I was running out of that paste, and so I just dumped some out on the table. I get a makeup sponge and I start dabbing over the whole stencil. right back over it with that black paint, and it will go through better this time because my stencil will be clean. I'm just taking a popsicle stick and some black paint and rubbing it on the outside, not all over, but here and there. Then I'm taking some real blush and a makeup brush and adding some pink into his nose and ears, and that just gives a little bit more character to him. Here he is with his little pink nose, so cute. We're doing the same thing for the fox, and we'll continue to do that for each of our characters. Here he is all finished up, isn't he cute? Here are all of the cute little woodland animals, and I just love them. Make sure you check out Christy's page. She's Funky Junk Inspiration, and join us for the next first Sunday of the month for Stencil Sunday. See you next time, and stay peachy.